Well, they're really starting to become really balanced on offense. If you've noticed the last three games, they've went from 25 to 28 to 33 runs. So they're starting to run the football, and I think that's the basic principle of their offense. To get the run game going. They're physical. They've got a really good fullback. They have tight ends that'll block. Offensive line's physical. So, and we see a lot of zone blocking, right? And these guys are really a power running game. They're downhill with ISO and power and counter, and so it's a different offense than we normally see as far as the run game. And off of that, they have really well designed play action passes that look like runs. So it draws your linebackers in. So that's really what they want to do. They want to run the football and play action, and then throw the quick passing game and drop back when they have to. So, and they've really started to really get better offensively the last 3 weeks. So, it's going to be a challenge. We have our hands full.
How much did it help your defense last week with your team running the ball so much?
Oh, it helps a lot. We played 50 snaps last week. So, anytime that you can keep, the average game is 68 on defense. So anytime that you can keep, 50's unreal. So, that'll help every week if that continues.
Phil, when and why did you kind of make the call last week to put Gilmore on Pitts? And is that kind of like an ace in the hole, even if it's a limited package with Gilmore going forward?
Yeah, I'd like to take credit for that, but he came to us and said, hey, let me have Pitts. So, so that's a good problem to have, right? But, yeah, he had studied tape, and he said, Coach, because he was going to have a limited role, right? And so, we got together, sat down, and went through it, and ended up being good for us.
At what point did he come to you, ask you that, and what did you think about that?
Well, it was early in the week, actually. It was, like Wednesday. He said, because we talk about matching up, if we need to match up in man or, play left and right, whatever. And he says, with the amount of reps I'm going to play, I'd like to cover Pitt. So we said, good, which ended up, real well for us.
What did you see out of Gilmore Sunday?
Well, he's really good in man coverage. He's excellent. It's really funny because, you look at how fast guys run in the course of a game. And, guys that are real fast run, around 20 miles an hour or, 21, high 19s. And I don't think he reached 15. And it's because he does such a real good job with his feet and hands, playing bump and run and man-to-man. So he makes the game really simple. And it's not, taxing to him because he's so good at what he does physically. So really fun to watch, and that's why he's been an all-pro, right?
Did you see him playing that role of being that guy who shuts down the opposing teams?
It all depends on who we're playing and what type of receiver, because we have Dante that can really run with fast guys, and we have matchup, which is nice to have. Hopefully we can get C.J. Henderson going because he can do some matchup deals too for us, and so we have guys that can match up with certain people, and that's what we try to do.
Has the biggest reason for him not playing been the shoulder, or is it coming along as well?
Well, primarily his shoulder last week, and so we wanted to get him healthy, and you'll see his role increase as the year goes.
What's Hassan Reddick do so well to get to the quarterback that you saw way back when that you still see today?
Well, first of all, Hassan is really strong for his size. I don't know if you've ever looked at his hands. He grabs a 300-pound man and can move him with his hands, which is not typical for his size. That's one. And number two is he's fast and quick. So, he gives those big guys problems. Now, when they get their hands on him, that can be a problem for Hassan. But he has some assets that give big people problems blocking him. And he's a mismatch on a back. We think if we can get him on a back, he'll win that. And he does. So he's got a lot of assets to rushing the passer.
So A lot of people just didn't trust that what they saw last year was going to be something he could continue to do. What enables him to continue to do that, and something you think in the right system can continue?
Yeah, I think last year they used him in a role that fit him. And, we'd had him in college, and we knew that was his role. So we knew if we put him in the same role that he'll create some problems. And he does. He makes one or two rushes in a game that are hard to make. And really, guys, his sack total, I think, is 7.5, and he could have like 13 or 14. He's missed a bunch of them, right? So he's been around the quarterback a lot, and hopefully that continues.
You talk a lot about positionless players like Shannon Burns. Where does Shaq fit into that equation? It seems like he's somebody who has a variety of roles on your defense.
And he does. We can use Shaq in a variety of ways, And Shaq is 337 pounds now. So he's about 8-10 pounds bigger than he was a year ago and still moving the same way. So I think he's really upped his game as far as the physicality of what he's doing. And he still has the ability to cover tight ends and backs really well. So, he's a big asset, too, that we try to utilize. Now, we're still bringing him along, too, as far as health-wise. So we'll see how much he plays this week.
Phil, you mentioned Hassan's missed some sacks. Brian went through that run last year where he was close to a bunch, didn't get them. Into the Minnesota game, he was kind of kicking himself for not just taking Cousins down and playing for the strip. Has he gotten better? What does he have to do to sort of fix that and learn how to finish?
Well, give the offense some credit, too. Some of these quarterbacks are hard to tackle. They're big men. They're hard to bring down. And and they have some slipperiness to them in the pocket. That's why they're in the National Football League. So it's just not easy to hit one of these guys and bring them down, as big as they are and as athletic as they are. So I think that has something to do with it. And then sometimes you're going so fast at them that if they're athletic and give you one little move, it's hard to tackle because they're trying to really hit the quarterbacks, right? When you get a chance. So, it's a combination of a lot of things. But, normally Hassan has been really good when he gets to the quarterback. He gets them down. So, and recently he's been doing that. I think early in the season he missed the sacks.
Are there technical things you can do to fix that, or is a lot of that, like you said, pace and effort kind of?
Well, some of it, too, is the angle in which you attack the quarterback from where you're rushing from. He's missed a couple because of that. But basically, a lot of it has to do with the guys you're tackling.
Phil, I have to think over the years you've had some interaction with Bill. Any cool stories that kind of speak to what he's been able to do?
He's, I've always followed him because of his success. But when I was at Arizona State, we had, like Jason Simmons, our DB coach, was coming out. We had a lot of good players. We played, and we were 11-0, and we lost our last game, or would have won the national title. And so we had a lot of good players, and we had pro day. Well, I always get in early, so I got a knock on the door about 6:15 in the morning in my office. I thought, who the heck is this? And it was Coach Belichick, right? And I said, Coach, what are you doing? He said, can I come in and visit? We had visited with some of our players the night before and was impressed on their knowledge and stuff. So we sat and talked football for 3 hours. And so that always left an impression on me. Here, he's the head football coach of an NFL football team, and he's wanting to come and talk to me about some things that he was impressed with our players. And so, I think he has always tried to get better in every way. And I think, him and Saban are real good friends, and, Saban's the same way, right? They're always trying to find an edge, and so that's always impressed me about them, that as good as they are, they're trying to get better. And so, he's called me about players in the past, and so I've had a little bit of, interaction with him.
Tape that morning, or were you just kind of sitting there chopping it?
Really, we were on the board. Yeah, it was a fun conversation. It's interesting. I've had some, like Pete Carroll showed up one time at Arizona State at 10 o'clock at night and walked in the office, and we talked for about 2. So I've had some interesting conversations with people that just have shown up, and unannounced. So But that, that's a great part of coaching. Yep.